Today we're going to read Ruby's Red Squiggle by Marie Lumpkin and illustrated by Rebecca Benedict. Keep an eye on the illustrations because we're going to talk about some illustrations that you really liked. So I want you to keep in mind something that stands out for you. Ruby's Red Squiggle. Ruby's mom enjoyed making sketches of the pictures at the art museum. Ruby liked drawing too. She drew a small yellow dot and a thick green circle. She drew a wavy orange line and a big blue square. Then Ruby drew a fancy red squiggle. Ruby and her mom looked at some pictures taken by a lady with a camera. The lady looked at Ruby's sketch and said, "That's a fine work of art." The yellow dot was shy. It tried to hide behind the green circle. "We're art," the green circle said and puffed itself a bit rounder. The wavy orange line put the big blue square on its back and bounced up and down. The fancy red squiggle stood as tall as it could and looked down at the others. She was talking about me. I should be hanging out with those pictures on the wall. The red squiggle hopped out of Ruby's sketchbook. "Come back," the other shapes called. "Come back." It was too late. "Time to go," Mom said. She and Ruby closed their sketchbooks and walked away. Look at Ruby's face. How was she feeling in that moment? Red Squiggle said, "I'm a fine work of art. I should be where everyone can see me." There were so many people with so many shoes, no one noticed a fancy red squiggle on the floor. Red Squiggle scooted across the floor and wiggled up the wall in a flash. She had the perfect way to be admired at the museum. She could make an old painting look bright and new. A little boy pointed, eyes widened, and mouths opened. How did the boy feel? A crowd gathered. A crowd is a group of people. Notice the illustration and those expressions. Someone has put lipstick on the Mona Lisa. Let's get a close-up of her lip. That is the Mona Lisa. "It's just a joke," the docent said. "A very bad joke. Step this way, please," he whispered to a guard as he led the people away. Red Squiggle scooted as fast as she could, dodging between excited feet. She scrambled along the wall to another room in the museum. She scurried up the wall and over the frame. The man in his painting looked sad. She shaped herself into a nice red hat. She thought it might cheer him up. Did it work? Why won't that work? You said because he's a painting. That's true. A guard noticed Red Squiggle and whispered into her radio. A vandal has been here too. There's a bright red hat on the Anthony Vallebreg. And there he is with the red hat. A vandal is someone who does what? Who vandalizes? Who vandalizes property or vandalizes something, which means they might make a mark where they're not supposed to, such as using permanent markers in a place that they're not supposed to, or using defacing and kind of destroying property, right? A vandal can do that. All right. Oh no, Red Swiggle said, sliding down and away. She scooted along the baseboards, hugging the wall as tightly as she could. She wrapped herself around the sock of a man on his way up the stairs. She was accused of being a vandal. She found a room filled with gleaming statues and sculptures, all white. A cheery color would look good here, Red Squiggle thought. She had just curled herself into a lovely red bow when she spotted another guard. Notice her as a bow in the hair. What do you think happened next? Red Squiggle stared at another unhappy face. There's a red bow in Hiawatha's marriage, the guard cried. Call the conservators. This woman was astonished. Racing to another room, Red Squiggle saw a smiling face. Squiggle thought a nice red bracelet would look great on the lady painter. Look, there's another red mess on the Leicester. Two guards were followed by a team of conservators carrying bottles, cloths, and feather dusters. They were there to try and figure out who was doing this, what vandal was coming in and destroying property. Red Squiggle escaped by leaping into the air and landing on a colorful shirt. What made Red Squiggle clever in this moment? And what was Red Squiggle trying to do the whole time? Was she being successful at what she was trying to do or unsuccessful? Was it working or not working? She rode into a room where all the pictures were made of tiny dots. That's called pointillism, when a painting or a picture is made of tiny dots. She tried one and then another, but she couldn't make herself small enough to fit into any painting. Someone always spotted her, and guards and conservators came running. Can you find her? Did you spot a red dot yet? Mhm. All right. On another painting, she shaped herself into a burst of starlight, but her bright red was all wrong. So she did not blend into that painting very well, that Vincent van Gogh Starry Night painting. That red was way too bright. "This is an outrage," someone yelled. "Call the curator." Squiggle gave a thick mustache to the blue boy. The curator fainted. "A mustache on the blue boy? Oh, who is vandalizing everything?" And what was Ruby trying to do the whole time? She shaped herself into an apple on a plate. Her apple didn't fit in with the peaches in the picture. Everywhere she went, there were shouts and pointing and running feet. No one was happy to see her. She hitched a ride on a red backpack. Finally, a room where a red squiggle could be appreciated. She moved from one picture to the next. She fit in perfectly with the other lines and shapes. No one pointed or yelled. No one came running. No one noticed her at all. And none of the other lines and shapes would ever speak to her. For a while, Red Squiggle was very sad. Why do you think she was sad? Then one day, Ruby and her mom came back with their sketchbooks to the museum. What do you think would happen next? Red Squiggle scrambled and scooted and slid. She's smiling now, huh? Maybe she's starting to feel a little better. She leaped and wiggled back into Ruby's sketchbook page. Her friends danced when they saw her. Wow, there they all are together again. Red Squiggle was happy to be admired at last. That's all she wanted, wasn't it? She just wanted to be admired. How many of us sometimes want to just be admired or appreciated or noticed? All right, that's the end of Ruby's Red Squiggle. I hope you enjoyed the story and the illustrations. Marie Lumpkin is the author, and Rebecca Benedict, my friend, is the artist and illustrator of this story. There's Rebecca, and there is Marie Lumpkin. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to ask, what was your favorite illustration? I want you to draw a picture of something you'd like to draw. Your favorite illustration. I want us to share which one was your favorite. And then you're going to get an image of a frame in the tear deck. And I'd like for you to then go ahead and draw your favorite illustration. Okay. Right. Get started.